last store out of San Francisco's Union Square, turn out the lights. Bloomingdale's has left the building. They are the biggest tenant in the biggest shopping center in San Francisco. They're out of here. Let's get into it. Here we go.
It is bye-bye Bloomingdale's and another big blow to the San Francisco center. The department store is going to close its flagship location in March, and the mall is losing its last anchor tenant. ABC 7 News reporter Tim Johns spoke with city leaders and has reaction from them and shoppers as well.
The mall in the heart of San Francisco took another blow Tuesday after its largest tenant, Bloomingdale's, announced it was leaving. The department store says the shifting retail landscape and its evolving strategies for future operations both played a part in the decision. In a statement to ABC 7 News, Bloomingdale said, "We are hopeful to be back to serve the San Francisco community in the future and look forward to introducing new ways to provide enhanced service to our loyal local shoppers." News of the store's departure from San Francisco Center upsetting several local shoppers.
I love Bloomingdale's. I'm going to be sad because I don't know where another one is at. So probably in San Jose or Santa Clara is the next place I will have to go.
Bloomingdale's is just the latest store to exit San Francisco. Last year, Macy's, which owns Bloomingdale's, announced it too was leaving its iconic Union Square location. Jim Wunderman of the Bay Area Council says Bloomingdale's departure is another hit to the city's reputation.
There's certainly a narrative that's out there that, San Francisco's better days are behind it and that there's a lot of problems. And this announcement by Bloomingdale fits the narrative really well.
But Wunderman also says he believes that narrative is improving, something that's been seen in the positive feedback city leaders have gotten from recent visitors. Regardless of that improvement, new Mayor Daniel Lurie was quick to respond to Bloomingdale's announcement.
We're going to make sure downtown is safe and clean.
This is the new mayor that took over after London Breed. We'll see how he does. I mean, he's been handed a hot potato, right? Here you go. Here's San Francisco. Clean that bad boy up. See how you do there, son.
We're going to start a new police task force focused on those people coming in for conventions, shoppers, visitors, making sure that they feel safe.
Lurie promising local residents that despite San Francisco's challenges, its best days remain ahead.
We are going to get this right. You have my commitment that our department heads, my team, are going to work tirelessly to make sure that we bring retailers, business, conventions back to San Francisco.
Bloomingdale's is set to close in the spring.
The mayor's operative word there is back to San Francisco because they've lost it. They have given the city away. They've allowed homelessness, drug abuse, crime, graffiti to overtake, like Seattle has to a certain extent in specific portions. Same deal. Same thing in Portland. Your downtown core has just been cored out. This is what happens. I think early on during the pandemic, I had so many people make it very clear to me, hey, all this ridiculousness, just allowing the homeless, allowing the drug abuse, allowing open market drug use to take place, it's going to really impact tourism, the straight up business of tourism, which is, and within that is convention tourism. A lot of big companies bringing their employees to get together. Maybe they got people strewn out all across the country. They want to meet in San Francisco, have a get together, do some shopping, do all that kind of stuff. But so much of what has gone on from a political standpoint, from allowing the homelessness to just take over, allowing the criminal element to just kind of do their thing. And then you've layered that on top of all of these tech workers that have left San Francisco. Yep, we're out of here during the pandemic. They never came back. And now there's this massive vacuum that won't be filled back up. You just won't fill back up San Francisco in a quick time period because people don't want to go shopping there. There's no foot traffic. There's nobody working in the financial district. People perceive the downtown core as being dangerous because when you are known in the vice presidential debate, I think it was J.D. Vance brought up the fact that there's a poop emoji map for San Francisco where you can identify where humans have taken big poops. And then, there's the picture. Let's, click on that emoji. Well, that's human poop. When you've got that kind of reputation, on top of everything else you've got going on. I mean, it is no wonder that it's a wonder that these companies have stuck it out as long as they have. Largest remaining tenant in San Francisco's largest mall just called it quits. This is the mall we have been talking about forever. Just one tenant after another after another. And we're going to get into it. Bloomingdale's, which is owned by Macy's, announced it'll close its doors in March. Here's a story from San Francisco Gate. The store, which occupies 330,000 square feet, so third of a million square feet in beleaguered San Francisco Center, the old Westfield Mall, until Westfield said, nope, we're out of here. Here's the keys, Mr. Lender. And Mr. Lender's like, oh, we don't want it. And so they've got a receivership in place. It's slated to close at the end of March. Bloomingdale's is by far the mall's largest remaining tenant, keyword remaining, and is closing the brand's second biggest store after its New York flagship. Bloomingdale's, which opened in 2006 in the former Westfield Mall, is the second anchor to bail out on the 1.5 million square foot property at 5th and Market Streets. Nordstrom's flagship store closed in 2023 after 35 years in business. Nobody wants to be here when you've got a bunch of nut jobs walking through the mall doing crazy stuff. Or even on the streets outside, nobody even wants to get close enough. Hey, let's go shopping at, Westfield Mall. Let's go do that. And folks, it's not even on the radar. Same thing here in Seattle. I've reported to you store after store after store in the downtown core where it used to be just, Pacific Place with just some epic shopping. I mean, just amazing. I mean, it was cool shopping. It was, it was 20 years ago. And then leadership just kind of allowed the criminal element to take over. Homelessness, you betcha. That's the greatest thing ever. All right. Misguided compassion. Let's just let open air drug dealing, buy and sell, stolen goods, everything to do with the whole drug culture. Let's just allow that to happen. And weird. It is so strange that nobody wants to shop here. I don't understand. You know what I mean? It's just like, are you clueless or what? We just thought it would work otherwise. Closure of Bloomingdale's deals another setback to the struggling San Francisco Center Mall, which is about half vacant, like 50% vacant. When it's had an exodus of retailers since the pandemic. This mall has been on the verge of collapse for a while now, the author writes. The owners of the mall walked away from it in 2023. Literally, here you go, Mr. Lender, Mrs. Lender. You can have the keys. We don't want it. You can take all of your poop in the elevators and you can have this mall back because we're not making any money and there's no real help from the city of San Francisco. This is when things were really, really, really bad. And from my understanding, things have cleaned up, but now the damage is done. You've crushed it. Nobody wants to have conventions in San Francisco. Nobody wants to deal with it. Even Charles Barkley came out and said, I'm not going to go into that rat-infested hellhole during the All-Star game. I'm not going to San Francisco. That place is terrible. I would say New York City, by all accounts, is probably more rat-infested. If he would have said, I don't want to go on the poop-lined streets, then I'd be down with that. I don't want to go on the poop-lined streets littered with hypodermic needles. That, of course, would be pre-fentanyl. But that would make more sense. But Charles Barkley just doesn't like San Francisco. Right? It just doesn't. He's a no-go. San Francisco Center is being managed by a receiver, meaning the lender didn't want it. So somebody's got to take care of it. In the meantime, the lender, they're not in property managed business, right? So you hand it over to a receiver and they take care of it. They take care of all the rents, leasing it out, while the lender is trying to work out, what are we going to do here? What are we going to do with this mall that's half full that we just can't seem to keep any tenants? They're a big couple of anchor tenants, anchor tenant being one that takes up a good portion of the building. And it's typically some kind of, a Nordstrom, used to be Bon Marché, Macy's, that kind of tenant, right? They're just leaving because there's nobody shopping there. I was watching a video, I think it was yesterday, and I can't remember who the content creator was, but this was a week before Christmas, and it was in this mall. And there was nobody there. It was, daylight hours, wasn't dark outside. There was nobody there. I mean, it was like a ghost town, like after hours, right? But it was middle of the day on a weekday. And this is a week before Christmas because there's no foot traffic. There's no foot traffic in the financial district in downtown in San Francisco. All those people went to work remotely. They ain't coming back. Now, here in Seattle, we've got an interesting deal. We've got Amazon has said, you guys are all coming back 5 days a week. That was as of January 2nd, a couple of Thursdays ago. That has happened. Now you've got federal workers coming back to the office where applicable. That was one of the Trump executive orders. So you've got all of these folks coming back to these downtown cores in San Francisco. It was so tech driven that I think a lot of those folks, they're just not there. And a lot of those companies are no longer there either. So, and that gets reflected in this mall's 50% vacancy rate, which is really high. San Francisco itself, that's somewhere around 40% vacant, I think, which is probably the highest of anything typical in North America for a downtown core, aside from some cities that have had, some major economic disasters that have kind of hollowed out their core downtown. The approved narrative on this, that the decline of the mall, which was caused by a decline in downtown foot traffic, I love that. How come there's nobody at the mall? Well, we've got less foot traffic. The question is, why are there fewer people going to downtown San Francisco? Because it ain't safe because of this ridiculous policy where you allow just utter nut jobs on drugs to run around willy-nilly doing their shenanigans. And then you wonder, why aren't people coming to the mall? I don't get it. This is really confounding. I don't understand. Pretty basic, isn't it? For the rest of us that are reasonable, this is pretty easy to explain. Well, people don't literally want to step in human feces in their shopping experience going to Bloomingdale's. You want to go shopping? Nah, I don't want to go to Bloomingdale's in my big boots. I don't want to do that. That's not fashionable. The approved narratives, decline of the mall, decline in downtown foot traffic. I love that. Blame it on there's fewer people. There's just fewer people. That's the nice way of saying it. The next question is why? Why? Oh, yeah. Connected to the pandemic was a blow to the city's downtown, but one which would eventually heal. But that's not what's happened so far because so much damage was done. And this stuff takes time. These big companies, they're going to dip out of their leases. They don't want to leave what they've invested in these stores. The stores are all set up and rolling. But if they're not making money and if they've got safety concerns, which is one of the biggest issues with these malls, is that the owners of these big corporations, they don't want to have somebody get assaulted by a whacked out homeless person trying to light the clothes on fire inside of Bloomingdale's. I mean, stuff like that, where you just got all these lunatics running around pooping on the sidewalks. You rarely hear explanations for, well, why does San Francisco have a poop emoji map? Well, because so many people are pooping on the streets and in public areas, in public parks, public streets, public sidewalks. That's the end result. Yeah, don't step there, step over there. Few small stores have leased at the mall, but none of those will come to making up for the 5 floors of space that Bloomingdale's is leased until 2046. Wow, that is stepping out of a massive lease. Wonder what the numbers on that were looking like. I mean, what did they have to prepay to get out of that? There is supposedly a theater chain interested in taking over a theater that also closed down at this location, but that deal hasn't been completed yet. Who in their right mind would open up a movie theater, which is truly based upon walk-in traffic? Let's go see a movie. We've been shopping for 3 hours. Let's go see a movie. This will be cool. I mean, that's a thing, right? And when you're not at the mall already, that's not so much of a thing. Hey, you want to go to the old Westfield Mall and watch a movie? I don't think so. Refer to the poop emoji map. The trend for San Francisco's downtown is still a bad one. Tourism also doesn't recover as hoped last year, although people are once again optimistic for 2025. There's always a sense of optimism, isn't there? But that doesn't necessarily match up with reality. which is, hey, we are optimistic that this is going to rebound. But in the meantime, what is happening? Your big anchor tenant they're out of there. They're gone. Bye-bye. And who knows, maybe tourism will recover, but will it be enough to help the mall recover? It's going to be a long time. It's going to be a long time. The basics of San Francisco have not changed. Nothing in the geography has changed. What has changed is people's perceptions, right? Hey, is it safe? No. Then we're not going to go there. Okay. We're going to go over here. We're going to go shopping over here, wherever that might be. Will it be enough to keep the BART trains from needing to cut services substantially, or will it take some time? It's going to take time. It's just going to take a whole bunch of time. So there's another article on Bloomingdale's to close flagship store in San Francisco. I mean, just absolutely devastating. This area it's a dog that's been down and now it's just getting kicked. There's another one. This was announced yesterday. The news story came out yesterday. The announcement happened last week. Michael Kors shuts down San Francisco Center Mall location, dealing another blow to crime-ridden city. I love the New York Post. They just call it the way it is. Exodus of big-name retailers from downtown San Fran continues as fashion brand Michael Kors closes up shop, dealing another blow to the city's economy. Company announced the impending closure of its stores, San Francisco Center Mall, last week. Signs displayed at the store's entrance informed customers of the upcoming shutdown and directed them to the nearest Michael Kors location in Santa Clara, approximately 45 miles away. Okay. Maybe that's the 45-mile away reference I was talking about. Michael Kors, not Bloomingdale's. Here's classic corporate or retail just saying something, right? It's not goodbye, reads the sign taped to the glass doors of the Michael Kors store on the ground level, right next to the "We are permanently closed" sign. It's not goodbye. We've loved sharing the best with you at Michael Kors San Francisco. This closure is part of a broader trend affecting the San Francisco Center Mall. The 1.5 million square foot shopping center, which has experienced a series of high-profile retail departures over the past year. Yeah, Michael Kors as well. Notably, you got the Adidas store just a few doors down from Michael Kors, closed a year ago, January 2024. Other stores, you got Nordstrom, American Eagle, J. Crew, Hollister, Madewell, Lucky Brand, and Lego store. I've covered probably 3 or 4 of those. The value of this shopping mall went from 1.2 in 2016 when it was just rolling, and then it dropped to 290 million. I didn't do the math on that. I should have. What is that? Is that an 80% drop? Something like that? I mean, it's amazing. Now, it's probably less than 80, isn't it? 75? Huge numbers. Anything north of 20, 30% is a massive, massive number. And this is most of the value has been lost following loan defaults and major tenant departure like Nordstrom. Now under receivership, the property is being managed by Trident Pacific Real Estate Group. And they're responsible for operating the mall, leasing and rent collection, the keeping the poop map updated, and also keeping the poop on the elevators reduced. That was literally one of my more probably infamous stories of 2022, something like that, was that pooping on the elevator system in the mall had gone up 420% year over year. Just got a lot more people using the restroom inside of the elevator, which doesn't have a restroom. They just couldn't make it. They're like, we got to get into the mall. And all these whacked out drug addicts are just taking a squat right there in the elevator. Nothing says, welcome to the mall. Let's do some shopping than the smell of human feces in the elevator as you go from the parking garage to the level of whatever store you want to go to. What floor you want to go to? I don't. It smells like you know what in here. And then they leave. And that is literally in a nutshell what is happening here. Not for everybody, but people just have this whole idea and this whole, they've been programmed. The mall isn't safe. The streets aren't safe. And you know what? You look at a map, how close this is to the Tenderloin. It is not far. This is not a shocker. This is not, this isn't a surprise by any means. Yeah, as of January last year, San Francisco Center Mall reported a vacancy rate exceeding 50%. So it is north of 50%. I mean, what is it? 330,000 square feet on 1.5 million? Man, just thinking of what are those numbers? 330 on 1.5 million. So that's a third. That's 1/5, 20, another. Does that mean we're at 70% vacancy rate? Probably, right? Probably. That's incredible. That is incredible. But, what do you expect? What do you expect to have happen? That's why this is news for reasonable people. This isn't news by people who are easily shocked from the obvious, right? You've just got this continual train wreck that is San Francisco, that is Seattle. Same damn thing. Pike and Pine 3rd, the Blade, near Pike Place Market. And people are like, I don't get it. I didn't realize there was that much criminal activity here. Well, you haven't been reading the news and you just don't pay attention, and most people don't. They just want to live in their bubble and do their thing and pretend that everything else is something that happens out there. It's never going to happen to them until it does. And then you've literally got the definition of what is a conservative. Well, it's a liberal that just got mugged. Public safety. It's an issue now. San Francisco. Hey, what's going on here? Why aren't there no stores? Where'd all the stores go? Good question. That's it for me on this one. Thanks so much for being here. I'll catch up with you in the next one. Bye for now.